where I go, hit the race experience out 2 years. I didn't do that. Not the next day. That's the airport. She brings it out.
So good morning. I feel like I should say, let there be light, let there be sound. I finally figured it out. You can see it at the top of the screen that it's been enabled so that my trusty assistant over here, Mark, will, whenever I'm going to sound the bell, I'll ask him to turn it on. How was that? Yeah. I'm so glad because this is a beautiful bell and you haven't had a chance to hear it. So with that, welcome everyone to the Mindfulness Tree Meditation community, and so happy to see everyone. It's a little bit warmer in the sanctuary when we go in. Yeah, it was very cold this weekend, and so now it's a whole lot easier. So this morning, we're going to practice, as it's mentioned in chapter 5, right, or chapter 5. We're going to practice a Tibetan Buddhist meditation practice called Tonglen. A lot of you know it, but I'll just say a little bit about it before we start. It comes from a larger set of teachings within the Tibetan Buddhist tradition called Lojong, which is basically training of the mind. And what it is, there is a whole set. You can even go on Amazon and look this up because Pema Chodron has these. They're short sayings that help you to center your mind and meditate. And so she has a set of cards that have the Lojong slogans or instructions. And one of them is the Tonglen practice. Good morning. And what it is the idea of giving and taking. And we've done this before, where on the inhale is the taking, where we take in maybe an issue that we're dealing with or a concern for another person. And there's actually in the instructions, it talks about feeling the heaviness of it, as if it's a smoky type of thing that you're taking in. And so it can be for yourself, it can be for another person, it can be for a greater cause. And then that's the taking. And so what it is then on the giving is breathing out, exhaling compassion and happiness and care for, it could be for yourself, it could be for another, or if you're dealing with a situation that you've not been able to sort of like, how do I deal with this? You know, how a lot of times you get into a ruminating type of thing, thinking about something that was said or done. This can be very helpful in neutralizing that, but it rides on the breath. And so the instructions, it's the inhale and the exhale. So instead of just, being aware of your breath, inhaling and exhaling, you're actually doing something. You're training your mind to be present with that whole idea of discomfort, maybe suffering to a certain extent. But on the exhale, it's balancing it out with sending compassion outward. And so wishes for happiness and that sort of thing. And so it's training the mind, and it can be done in the spur of the moment. Say you see a child who's unhappy, you can actually inhale their unhappiness and exhale. And the one thing that she said is it's not infectious. Like if you inhale maybe an illness of somebody, you're not going to get it. I think that, and what that does, it relates in the teaching to the whole idea of the lotus in the mud, that the only way we can have the lotus bloom out of the water is it comes from the mud. And so that it's the non-rejecting of whatever is present. So with that, I'm going to invite you to turn the bell on. We're going to begin our practice. Listen, listen. The sound of the bell calls me back to my true home. So as we prepare for this practice, I invite you to take a comfortable seat, feet on the floor or crossed on the cushion. And just feel the body as you settle and arrive. And welcome yourself to your true home. So I invite you to even sense the uncomfortable as we come to this meditation. Perhaps it's for you a nagging pain or a disagreement or harsh or unskillful words spoken either to you or you spoke. But let all of it be here. And let it be a way to prepare us for the practice of Tonglen. Tonglen is a practice that helps to train the mind to be steady and present with whatever is arising. As often as we wish to push away unpleasant thoughts and grasp on to pleasant thoughts, it helps us to simply be present with whatever is. There are 4 stages to Tonglen. The first, we rest our mind briefly for a second or two in a state of openness or stillness. This stage is traditionally called flashing on absolute bodhicitta, or suddenly opening to basic spaciousness and clarity of the mind. What that means is a moment free of the fixed mind, completely open, spacious, wide, a fresh moment before thinking and bias have set in. If you have any trouble connecting to this openness, you can bring to mind an image of a wide open experience from your life. You can think about standing on the beach and looking out at the vast ocean, or being high up in the mountains, under an immense sky with an expansive view of many miles. Or you can ring a gong or a bell and listen to its sound as a way of touching in that fresh, still mind, free of fixation. Whatever you need to do, the point is to connect to a place of open mind and open heart, which is the background for the rest of the practice. The second stage of Tonglen is working with the texture on the inhale. When you inhale, breathe in a feeling of hot, dark, and heavy. It might feel uncomfortable. This is the claustrophobic texture and quality of a tightly fixed mind. And so on the inhale, visualize or somehow have the experience of taking in this discomfort. Breathe it in completely through all the pores of your body. For some people, it's helpful to think in terms of colors or images. A traditional image in Tibetan Buddhism is breathing in black smoke. Some breathe in red because it's hot. Some visualize green, slimy stuff. You can do whatever works to give you the sense of taking in these uncomfortable feelings that you would normally push away and avoid. Then when you exhale, breathe out a feeling of cool, bright, airy, and light, a sense of freshness, like a spring rain. Again, you can use whatever imagery, such as the coolness of blue or the brightness of white. Radiate this freshness 360 degrees through all of the pores of your body. Let it be a very complex and complete experience. Continue for a while breathing these textures in and out. And keep going until they feel synchronized with your breath. So breathing in, hot and comfortable. Breathing out, coolness, freshness, and light. And be with that for a minute or two as you feel it within your body. Not just thinking about the breath, but experiencing it. And at any time in this practice, if it feels difficult for you, simply just observe the breath. But part of this practice is training the mind to stay steady with difficulty as well as happiness. Use either the words or images to make this happen. But notice as you do it, how the mind starts to become steady and focused. Allow your body to settle and relax on the exhale, especially if you feel any tenseness on the inhale. In the third stage of Tonglen, connect with a personal situation that's particularly painful for you. It could be literal pain in the body or in the mind, or it could be that you're going through a difficult time with a family member. Perhaps a regret of words spoken or actions taken. But breathing in that heavy darkness, breathing in the pain, and a wish for yourself and perhaps another to be free from any pain or suffering they're having. And with your out breath, then send out happiness or spaciousness or whatever you think will benefit yourself or the other. Or it can be about an animal that you know is in a cruel and abusive situation. On the in-breath, take in the pain of their experience And on the out breath, imagine that this animal is free and happy. For this stage, you can use anything that naturally moves you, anything that feels personal and real. However, as I described, if you're stuck, you can do the practice for the pain you are feeling and simultaneously for all those who are just like you who feel this kind of suffering. For instance, if you're feeling inadequate, you breathe in that for yourself and all others who are in the same boat. And then you send out confidence, adequacy, or relief in any form you wish. Let's start with whatever is personal and speaks to you today. Just notice as you do that, where on the out breath you feel your body and your mind relax. The mud and the lotus together. In this way, we don't close ourselves off from those parts of ourselves that are difficult, but rather help to transform them into a sense of tranquility and peace. Just notice how, when you deal with this particular subject, that it does keep your focus in a way that simply sitting or following the breath without any instruction might be difficult. You might notice that this concentration is pretty stable. Because of following the flow of the breath, it's not like forcing anything. It actually gives the mind that opportunity for rest, especially when you're dealing with something difficult and it feels like you can't let go of it. Finally, in the fourth stage, we expand on the specific situation and make our taking in and sending out even bigger, even more spacious. The third and fourth stages balance each other out. The idea is that if you're too general in the beginning, it really doesn't touch the heart. But then too, if you stay too specific for the practice, you can get bogged down, overwhelmed, or too self-absorbed about that particular situation. If you started out by dealing with your own pain or suffering, you can extend it out to all people who are in pain or suffering like you are. Or if you're thinking about an abused animal, expand it out to all beings who are suffering. But if these contemplations start to feel too general or abstract, come back to the specific case that you're working with to make it more personal. Just like the beginning instructions, feel the situation into your body, into your pores. And then with the expanding of it on the exhale, sending out compassion and relief. Again, it's coming from your entire self and expanding out into the universe. And from this fourth stage, try to expand your heart beyond what currently seems possible. Think of situations in our community, in the world, that are very difficult. And breathe those in. And then on the exhale, allowing that to go into space with relief and kindness and compassion. And as you continue this practice, you can do it on the spur of the moment throughout your day when you see something that is a reminder of suffering. And rather than turning away, to be present with that. And just like the metta practice, you can continue to expand it to include our community, our nation, our world, for the whole planet, for all the water, the air, and the land which have been hurt. Tonglen can extend indefinitely. As you do the practice gradually over time, your compassion naturally expands. And so does your realization that things are not as solid as you thought. As you do this practice gradually at your own pace, you'll be surprised to find yourself more and more able to be there for others, even in what used to seem like impossible situations. So thank you for your practice. for your presence, and for participating in a special training. When someone asks you, what do you do when you meditate? It seems like just wasted time. You can say, oh, there's a lot that you can do with meditation. So with that, we're going to continue our meditation practice by doing walking meditation in the sanctuary or the social hall. And you can do whatever is present for you to do, or to continue with the Tonglen practice as you walk, coordinating the breathing with the walking. So I don't think it takes a whole lot of coordination to do that, but try it out and see what works the best for you. So we move into the walking meditation. Like a cookie, please take a cookie. I brought these so they don't go to waste. And then that could be an eating meditation. Interesting.
Really, boy. I have tons of them.
Like a cookie piece. Neat. Oh, pass it around where you can get one.